What's up, everybody? Welcome to Kinda Funny Games Daily for Thursday, June 24th, 2021. I'm Greg Miller, alongside my co-host of the day, the host of IGN Game Scoop, Daemon Hatfield.
Scoop! What's up, Evan Greg?
Ooh, not much, man. How are you?
I'm doing very well. I've had a couple I didn't have a couple mochas. I was brainwashed before we started recording. I had a couple lattes. Recently got a Nespresso machine, Greg. Do you own one of these miracles of modern science?
I'll tell you what, I've seen George Clooney and Danny DeVito trying to sell me on this machine, Damien. I won't have it. I want a cup of coffee. I want as many ounces of coffee as I can possibly get. You get these little pods, you get a little sip.
Yeah, I don't know. It's been pretty life-changing. They make a good latte and I can just do it from home. It's been great.
See, I know it's always like a question of, quality over quantity. And for me, it is 100% quantity. Give me a barrel of diner coffee. That's what I want to get me through the day.
Sure,
I just need to be destroying that. But I'm glad you enjoy it. You've always had a more refined palate than me.
Pinky's up for me.
That's how it's got to be, right? How are you recovering from E3? Are you back to normal? Are you full speed?
I think I'm back to normal. I had a couple of days off, and then I'm taking all of next week off. Next week's a vacation week for me. So
wow, that's cool.
Feeling good.
You gonna play video games? Or you gonna go somewhere? What are you gonna do?
We're going to Hawaii. Whole family's going to Hawaii. I think it'll be great once we're there. I'm a little bit nervous about the flight with my almost 2-year-old, but
yeah. How many planes has he been on?
One plane to Vegas, but that flight was 30 minutes.
Yeah,
and this is a 6-hour flight, so
sure. Yeah, you got to keep him entertained and do stuff.
Yeah, drill, you know what I mean? Knock him out.
He's not a dog. He's not a dog.
It's true. That's what everyone says. A little drill.
Yeah,
that's what everyone says.
Yeah. Keeps the
I don't know. I'm still,
you'll get
T minus 3.5 months. So I don't know what I'm doing with anything. I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, exactly. Whatever you got to do to get through the flight. Are you going to be playing a lot of Mario Golf on that flight? You think there, Damon?
Not on that flight, because like I said, I think it'll be all hands on deck watching the kid. I was looking forward to playing Mario Golf at some point during this trip, but now I'm a little bit up in the air because of the IGN review from Simon Cardy.
Oh, well, that's funny you bring that up. Let's talk about it. Mario Golf Super Rush reviews are in. Are we getting a Ghost of Tsushima expansion? And 343 is committed to Halo releasing this holiday, according to some guy named Phil Spencer. We're going to talk about all this and more because this is Kinda Funny Games Daily. Each and every weekday on a variety of platforms, we run you through the nerdy video game news you need to know about. If you like that, be part of the show over at patreon.com/kindafunnygames. On patreon.com/kindafunnygames, you can ask your questions. You can provide your squad up requests. You can get a whole bunch of exclusive perks, shows, all sorts of benefits, including, of course, a post show for this show each and every weekday, this show ad-free, and of course, the ability to just say, hey, I made something happen for Kinda Funny. However, if you have no bucks to toss our way on Patreon, it's no big deal. You could be watching us record the show live as we record it on twitch.tv/kindafunnygames, just like Matt122587 is, Tom G1013 is, and PJ Julian R. If you're watching live, you have a special job. Go to kindafunny.com/you're wrong and tell us what we screw up as we screw it up so we can set the record straight. For everybody watching later on youtube.com/kindafunnygames, roosterteeth.com, and listen on podcast services around the globe each and every weekday. Housekeeping for you, as we're about to talk about Mario Golf Super Rush reviews are up. Ours is up as well. You can get it on the Kinda Funny Gamescast, youtube.com/Kinda Funny Games podcast services. And we have an extra special guest from IGN.com, Simon Cardy, here to talk about it and his review. We played together a little bit. Or actually, no, we didn't. He actually yells at me about that. But don't worry about it. Speaking of Mario Golf, tomorrow I'm going to destroy Andy Cortez in Mario Golf live on twitch.tv/kindafunnygames after Kinda Funny Games Daily. And that will be a charity stream supporting GamerX. So check it out tomorrow, twitch.tv/kindafunnygames. And then heads up for other programming. We're all seeing Fast 9 tonight. We're all going to see the new Fast and the Furious tonight so that we can do an in-review. You excited, Kev?
No, not super excited. I'm so stoked.
I'm
so stoked. I can't wait. Hans back, baby.
We're all seeing. Oh, God. We're all seeing it tonight. We're going to do in-review tomorrow afternoon, and it'll be up ASAP once that's done on youtube.com/kindafunny in-review podcast services. Thank you to our Patreon producers, Donovan Harkness and Blackjack. Today, we're brought to you by DoorDash, Canva, and Final Fantasy, but I'll tell you about that later. For now, let's begin the show with what is and forever will be the Roper Report. Time for some news. We got 6 items on the Roper Report.
Baker's dozen.
before we get to all this Mario Golf stuff, all right, let's talk about this breaking rumor. Take it with a grain of salt. But, ladies and gentlemen, we might be on the verge of a Ghost of Tsushima standalone expansion in the vein of Miles Morales. I am excited. We're going to Francesco Di Mio over at WCCF Tech. A Ghost of Tsushima standalone expansion called Ghost of Ikushima. Damn it, I still screwed it up. Damon, we went through this in rehearsals. We went through this in rehearsals. Ikishima is currently in development, according to rumors circulating online. Xbox era co-founder Shapeshaw Nick, who proved to be reliable in the past, revealed today that this is a standalone expansion in the vein of Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and Uncharted Lost Legacy, and is targeting a 2021 release. The leaker hasn't mentioned any platform, but it is likely this will be a cross-gen release, which is not surprising considering the main game launched on PS4. Reset Era Forums member Catharsis T also added that it is going to be a single-player expansion. While Nick has proved to be reliable in the past, we should take everything with a grain of salt. As Sony doesn't have many games planned for the final few months of the year. Releasing a Ghost of Tsushima standalone expansion would make tons of sense, also considering the success of last year's Spider-Man Miles Morales. Daemon Hatfield, the source of IGN News, all right? Game Scoop on the finger on the pulse of video games. Do you buy this? Do you think this is real?
I hope it's real. Ghost of Tsushima was my game of the year last year. I loved it. I was just trying to do a little bit of research. I think Ikishima is it's either a real island off of Japan, or it's part of an archipelago. Maybe it's a small island that's part of the Iki archipelago. So I think this is also based on a real place, just like Tsushima was. And I hope it's real. I'm a single player gamer, just like yourself. I know there was a lot of good response to that cooperative mode that was released last year, although I didn't ever dive into it myself. So I'd love to have more single player content for it, especially looking in the back half of this year. We don't really know what we're going to be playing on our PS4s and PS5s, right?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, Back for Blood. Come on now. You're getting it out there when he kills some not zombies or whatever. That's my take too. Like the thing for me, and the thing for me that hits weird about it, right, is the fact that, it's going to be a 2021 game. That seems bonkers, especially if we're talking about it in the vein of a Lost Legacy or a Miles Morales. Both, two games that, while, yes, they were standalone, right, you didn't need to own the base game. They were their own thing. But two games that had big reveals and had actual campaigns leading up to them, right? Like Sony treated them like it. It's what makes me think that I wonder if we're being fast and loose with what they're calling what it's actually going to be. Because even when Miles Morales got revealed and even Lost Legacy, there was that scuttlebutt of wait, is it an expansion or is it a standalone game? And how does this work? Yada yada yada. If it's going to be like something like Festival of Blood for Infamous, I would buy that more, but that's a much shorter experience with much lowered expectations than saying it's a Lost Legacy or Miles Morales.
Sure, but Sony could announce a state of play at any moment. Greg, it could be coming up right now. Who knows?
Don't you do it during this show, or after this play show. Don't outdate the entire episode to immediately PlayStation.
If we had a state of play in the next few weeks, I have no insider knowledge of that. I'm just thinking. Everyone seems to think that's fairly likely. They could announce this then, and then you'd still have months and months to lead up to the release of it, right?
Yeah, there has been obviously a scuttlebutt and internet rumor of a July state of play. And even if you haven't been following those rumors, the smart money would be, you have to do something in July or August if you're PlayStation. You want to promote what's happening in the fall. What is going on with Horizon in terms of a release date? You have things to talk about and promote. So this would make sense. But I wonder, my only thing is I wonder how big it would be, if it's going to be on the level of Miles Morales or if it would be it. But especially if it's cross-generational, that gets me super excited, knowing how great Miles looked on PlayStation 5. And even though there's been so many enhancements for Ghost of Tsushima, a beautiful game that I adored, it looks so much better on PlayStation 5, let alone if they were building a little bit more for it.
And I wonder if they do something like Miles Morales and we'd be playing as somebody new.
Ooh.
They introduced a lot of different characters in that game. So
Lady Moss,
take us to a new.
Let's go.
I mean, yeah. Yes, right. Take us to a new location, have a new protagonist.
Okay, I'd be down for that. I'd be ready for that. I'd let that happen. Call up Andrew Goldfarb at Sucker Punch and let him know
it.
They will allow this to happen.
Andrew Goldfarb. I want to play as Andrew Goldfarb in Icky.
The world isn't ready for that, Daemon. Sadly, the world isn't ready for that. Real quick, technical side. Kevin, does Daemon seem like he's slipping a bit out of sync for you?
I mean, I haven't noticed it too bad. But
Daemon, say hi.
Hello.
You're right. Yeah. Yes, he has.
Do a hang up on Discord and come back into the call. We have to do this usually when I'm in LA.
All right. I'm hanging up. Wait, how do you hang up on Discord? I don't know how to do it.
Just go.
He nailed it. He got there.
Yeah, you got it. How do you do? What the hell?
Unfortunately, this issue seems like it's just going to continue to slip slowly. So every couple of minutes, he can hang up and come back, or we can just.
No, it's not worth it. Damon, say hi.
Yeah.
Hello.
There you go. We've addressed it now. I mean, it's the audio. The audio's in sync, which is all I care about. But I just want to make sure, these yakety yaks in the comments, Damon. You know what I mean? these fucking kids. This job would be great if it wasn't for the audience. I'm kidding. I'm just having a good time.
If we could just podcast by ourselves.
I think people call that conversations, hanging out, but I don't know anything about it. Number 2 on the Roper Report. Let's get into it. Let's talk about Mario Golf Super Rush. Of course, we have the review roundup. Let me go. I always, Damon, when I start doing these in the morning, I go to Metacritic and I gather it, but I want to give people the actual Metacritic score, but then I cite it from like 3 hours ago. So I'm going right now. Right now on Metacritic, Mario Golf Super Rush is still sitting at a 75. We're going to go through 3 reviews real quick in their closing comments. Game Informer gave it an 8.25. Brian Shea wrote, despite the underwhelming nature of the story mode, Mario Golf Super Rush delivers plenty of golfing greatness. With a strong foundation and multiple fun avenues to play, Mario Golf Super Rush carries on the long-standing tradition of Nintendo sports games by being a good time regardless of your fandom of the actual sport. GameSpot gave it a 7. Stephen Petit says, with 3 radically different styles of play and some seriously inventive courses, Mario Golf Super Rush is a compellingly original sports game. Speed golf and battle golf actively make you adapt to wildly different conditions while balancing technique and speediness. The 3-click swing system still feels great, though if you desire an accurate motion-controlled golf game, this isn't it. Golf Adventure curiously lacks a conventional tournament structure or record keeping, which actively dissuaded me from ever wanting to revisit it. Super Rush isn't the best entry in the series, but it's a worthy addition. And then IGN's own Simon Cardy gave it a 6.0 and said, "Oi, governor! Mario Golf Super Rush is a comfort food game that, to some, like me, can take you to a happy place with a couple of taps of the same button, followed by the exclamation of, nice shot. Its standout speed golf mode is a great twist on Mario Golf and a genuinely fun way to play that goes a fair way to spicing up an age-old formula by filling the space between swings and with a madcap foot race to the next one. Though, even if that mode is a tiny birdie. Sadly, there are just too many bogeys elsewhere in Super Rush in the form of a poor adventure mode, a slight selection of courses, low replayability, and just a general lack of things to do after you've burnt through its content. Once that make for an unsuccessful round. Arcade golf games like this are made to be played with friends for a long time, but there just doesn't feel like enough variety on offer here to make me want to. Without that longevity, I just can't place Super Rush in the category of a top-tier Mario Golf game. Heartbreaker for you, Damon.
Well, I'm a little bit. It gave me pause, Greg.
Yeah.
And just real quick, I want to point out that, over the years, the IGN review scale has been revised a few times. It was originally a 100-point scale. Many years ago, we decided, it's a little bit too much. Let's try a 20-point scale. So you just have like 0.5 increments. Now, today, it's just a 10-point scale. Just hard, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, yada, yada, yada. But I guess I didn't realize Game Informer has a 1,000-point scale, and Mario Golf it's right in between an 8.2 and an 8.3. That's how
Correct. Kindafunny.com/wrong. I think Game Informer might operate on a quarter scale. So it's either 8, 8.25, 8. I don't know if I've ever seen an 8.23 from Game Informer. I think that's how it works, but I'm not 100% up on their system.
An 8.48. I don't know. Anyway, I love Mario Golf.
Remember those days? This game's a 9.1 and this one's a 9.2.
There's definitely times you're like, okay, this game is somewhere in the 7s. Let's look at this game's catalog of reviews. Let's see. It's on the lower end. We've got an 7.2, 7.4. All right, this will be this first 7.3 for this.
I remember those days well. Big Slice Gaming says, yeah, Game Informer is on a 40-point scale. So there you go.
I don't know if that math checks out. Seems impossible to me.
We're not scientists.
We need to get Jeremy Dunham, expert mathematician, in here to see if that checks out. I am a little bit cautious now for Mario Golf. I mean, maybe I should try it. I'm sure it's still gonna be fun. It's been so long since I played a Mario Golf game. Greg, have you tried Clap Hands Golf on Apple Arcade?
I have, because of course, I'm a huge golf fan of video game golf. And so you know that I was a huge Hot Shots Everybody's Golf.
Yep.
And yeah, everybody's like, Greg, clap hands. The people who make Everybody's Golf, who have made Hot Shots Golf, they put out an Apple Arcade version. I was like, all right, cool. And I got it. And I was just like, oh. I guess because you have to, I forget, I'm very rusty, kindafunny.com/you're I played for like 2 seconds or whatever, and it was like, oh, like I think it is a touch thing. Like even with the backbone, I had to do something that I was like, oh, this isn't what I want. I want it to just be Hot Shots on the phone, but they had some weird interface that I didn't like that turned me off to it. So well, that's what I mean. Sorry, go ahead.
No, just I haven't been enjoying that one. So that one has been scratching.
Oh, so you're playing. What am I thinking of? What do you have to do with the screen? What do you have to do? I forget.
I mean, you're pulling back with I play it with the touchscreen. Pull it back with your thumb and then push forward.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a setting where you can make it taps instead. I don't know.
See, I think that's what it didn't have. I wanted that when I was using the backbone for it, but I couldn't get it. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to do this because Super Rush was right around the corner. And so, yeah, I've put in a whole bunch of hours with Super Rush. I've had it for a week and a half now or whatever. I enjoy it quite a bit. On the review, and me and Cardy talked about it, and I gave him some notes on an early draft of his review, and we were going back and forth. I think all of Simon's critiques are spot on. I think it's more towards a 7. I think that's where I would have ended up with it. Like, I think for me, a lot of it comes down to comparing it to what's come before, which I think in a franchise you do. And I think Mario Golf World Tour on 3DS was just so good and had so much stuff that it's bewildering to me that Super Rush doesn't have online tournaments, that, you can't play 4 players locally, even on one Switch and stuff like that. Like, that's all a bunch of weird stuff. And there's less courses than there were before, but maybe they're a little bit more in depth in terms of like, holes and stuff. All that said, and what I talk about, please go watch the Gamescast review. It is fun. And, all this said, I'm buying Jen her own copy, because we want to be able to play together and she wants to go through the career mode and have her and me beefed up with its stats and yada, yada, yada. Like, there's a lot here, but one of the things I thought that was salient that we made in our conversation, me and Simon on Gamescast, was the idea that, Tim asked me, all right, cool. Do you think Mario Golf will ever go back to being more of what you're looking for in terms of what, World Tour was? And Andy was like, well, I think it might be something to do with budget, and that's why this game seems more limited. And I was like, I think honestly it's not. I think it's more of the scope that Nintendo's probably like, we have a mainstream system, so this game needs to be mainstream. It needs to be something anyone can jump into and have fun, which is 100% true. The gameplay is fun. The new stuff they've added with super shots and shaping your shot and stuff like that are cool, but they've lost some of the more hardcore stuff that we would want in an adventure mode. I think every one of the reviews talks about the adventure mode being boring and just weird and not wanting to go back to it, which sucks. I think we'd want to see that, but this is a game designed to be a multiplayer game. I am still excited to play it online tomorrow. I am still excited for when I want to play golf to, put out the Twitter code and have people come join me and jump into the thing. So I think you're gonna have fun with it, Daemon. I just don't think it's necessarily the end all be all Mario Golf we wanted. Yeah,
I should probably still play it. I've just been really excited for it, and now I feel a little bit less like I don't need to get in, tomorrow, like right when it launches. Sure. I could probably wait. I could probably wait for some point.
And that's the other fascinating thing about it, where they went out of their way in their direct to say, hey, Mario Golf's coming and it's going to get post-launch support. So it's very, I think, possible that we look back at this game in a year, and not that it'll be a drastically different thing. Like they've given you a new adventure mode, but I bet they'll have given you more courses, more things to do. Maybe they've added, Simon does not like Battle Golf. I thought Battle Golf was cool, but there's only 2 maps for it. I could go for more of that. Yeah. Have you heard about Battle Golf?
Yeah, that's where every player has everyone's trying to make your hole, but as soon as someone sinks it, that hole disappears.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's the first player of 4 to get 3 holes. And so there's all these different flags that you can just go to, but if somebody else sinks on the hole you're trying to get in, it disappears, so you have to then pivot and go. So it's like this pandemonium stuff. But Simon, in our review, in his review, was talking about the fact that the AI sucks, so this isn't something I'm enjoying when I play them. But then when you get in there with 4 other human beings in some of the sessions I was doing, it is kind of pandemonium and trying to figure it out and see who's got the better short game and stuff like that. So I still like Super Rush. I'm going to keep playing Super Rush. I keep going back to story mode because I want my me to be able to drive 400 yards or whatever. So I'm leveling up, but a whole bunch of different problems with it and stuff like that. But I still want you to play it, Daemon. All right?
Okay. All right, I'll play it.
Good. All right, good. Number 3 is part of a duo of stories that comes from the one, the only Phil Spencer from Xbox. We'll start over at IGN, where Joseph Noop says, Halo Infinite devs committed to a holiday 2021 launch. Xbox boss Phil Spencer says that the Halo Infinite development team is very committed to a holiday release date. Spencer made the comment while guesting on Dropped Frames, discussing how the Halo Infinite team was approaching the last legs of development, among other topics. Spencer says the team is currently narrowing down the release for Halo Infinite, and already has a good idea of the launch window. Quote, "We know kind of our range in the 3 to 4 week range," Spencer said. "We don't have yet the exact day. There's some things with some other game timing that we're trying to look at. We'll have a better clarity over the summer, but this isn't a months thing. This is just down to a few weeks," end quote. Microsoft announced in August 2020 that Halo Infinite would be delayed from a holiday 2020 release date to an unspecified 2021 release date, following a mixed reception to Infinite's first gameplay reveal and citing COVID-19 as a major issue. Halo series veteran Joseph Staten was later hired to get Infinite, quote, back on track. Quote, "Instead of picking this date and having to move it by a week, which at this point would feel like a fail, we don't want to do that. Let's wait until we're really solid on what the date is," Spencer continued. "But the team is very committed to holiday. We feel good about that," end quote. Daemon, Hatfield, is Halo Infinite coming this holiday? Are we getting it in 2021?
I'm sure we'll get it this holiday. I was just, the fact that they didn't give us a release date at E3 was a big surprise to me, because this game was supposed to be out for 7 months now, and they were able to give a release date to Starfield next year, 11/11/22. So I was like, but they can't, after all this time, after this huge delay, they can't give us a date for Halo. And some people online were saying, well, they're waiting for Call of Duty. They don't want to go on the same week or even the same week before or after Call of Duty. And what's interesting to me is that this sounds like Phil Spencer all but confirming that they're literally just waiting to see what
there's
Call
some
of
other things
is.
with some other game timing that we're trying to look at.
Yeah.
I wonder what other game it would be. What other shooter is coming out around the holiday that you want to dodge?
I guess that makes sense. I'm just surprised that they would be that transparent about it.
Yeah, well, that's kind of been, not to that business level, but Xbox tries to be, wear their heart on the sleeve and actually try to give you answers, which I appreciate and really respect. But yeah, now you are in this thing of I think it's the ongoing conversation about Halo Infinite. They just can't fuck it up. They cannot really and that's such a tough place to be in. Of hey, no pressure, but this has to be an amazing game. Everyone has to play this and love this. Yeah. Are you excited for Halo Infinite?
Oh, I'm really interested. I'm not a huge Halo fan, but I've played all the campaigns except for 5. So for me, I would be interested in playing the Halo Infinite campaign if it's good. But I count myself among the camp that last summer when they revealed the campaign, I wasn't very impressed. I was like, this doesn't look very next gen to me. Sure. So going into E3, I was expecting to see more of that campaign and to hopefully be wowed, but then they just didn't show any of the campaign. I think they focused on multiplayer, which definitely seems to please all the Halo multiplayer fans out there. They're very excited for it. Since I'm not a hardcore Halo fan, I guess I understand if they don't really feel the need to cater to me. That's totally fine. But yeah, if Halo Infinite comes out and the campaign gets good reviews, I will totally play it.
Yeah, I'm not a Halo guy either, but I'm interested in this. I want to see how it comes together. I know, Mike and the XCast are so pumped for multiplayer and everything else that's going on there, but I'm right there with you of will single player feel great? What does this grappling hook do for gameplay and all that, and see how it shakes out? But we will have to wait. Hopefully not long.
Yeah, I like a good first person shooter campaign as much as the next guy. So if it's good, then I'll totally be interested in playing it.
All right, let's talk about Killer Instinct then. All right, this is number 4 from pretty much the same interview, but a different site. We're going to GameSpot, where Darryn's talking about Killer Instinct's return. Rare's cult classic fighting game series, Killer Instinct, was revived back in 2013, but the reboot has seen very little new content added to it since its 3rd season finished in 2017. Killer Instinct isn't dead, though, as Xbox boss Phil Spencer recently mentioned his interest in revisiting the series when the time is right. Quote, "There are so many good games in our catalog that we'd love to revisit," Spencer said in the latest Drop Frames podcast via VGC. Quote, "The response when we did Killer Instinct at the launch of Xbox One was fantastic. Not everyone inside of the Xbox organization kind of saw what that game could become. I will just say, Matt Booty and I have discussed many times Killer Instinct and where we'd like to go with it," end quote. According to Spencer, a Killer Instinct re-revival will need, quote, "the right team and the right opportunity to be found. It took 17 years for the series to find a new home at Microsoft, and even in a genre dominated by Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, and newer fighting games like Guilty Gear Strive, Killer Instinct still had a dedicated fan base when developer Double Helix and Iron Galaxy took over from Rare. Double Helix was acquired by Amazon in 2014, so any new Killer Instinct games won't be handled by the studio responsible for its first season of content. Daemon, Killer Instinct. We're old. We've talked about this a lot. I remember when Killer Instinct was in the arcade and it was the hotness and yada, yada, yada. Yeah. And then I drifted away from it. And I remember the 2013 revival. I remember Dave Lang and Iron Galaxy and everybody being stoked about it and talking to them on IGN Comic-Con stages about it or whatever. Are you hankering for more Killer Instinct?
Well, I don't know that I am personally, that was an Xbox One exclusive, and I think it was a launch exclusive, and the Xbox One launch. I don't know if you remember this, Greg. It didn't go very well for Microsoft.
Oh, I missed that.
It wasn't the smoothest launch, of a console, and I'm not a huge fighting game guy. However, I played and loved the solo the single player campaign in Mortal Kombat 11. That was super fun. So I would be interested in any fighting game that has sort of a clever and engaging story mode that I can play through like that, which I think Guilty Gear Strive has, and I've been interested in checking that out. But in the case of Killer Instinct, this quote, it just sounds, I don't think there's any sort of really meat to this rumor. The quote, if they had the right team and the right opportunity, it might come back like that. I think that could apply to literally any game. If they had the right team and the right opportunity, sure, maybe it would come back. So it doesn't sound like that's really that close to happening to me.
I mean, if the right team and the right opportunity approach me, I could be in a movie, like that's how it goes, Damon. Anything can happen with the right team and the right opportunity. I think it's back to at least them mentioning it, right? I think so many, you talk about different publishers and, you bring up a game that they don't want to talk about, right? They're not going to say anything about it. So it's interesting that Killer Instinct's still on Xbox's lips, right? But if it's just lip service to a fan base that wants to know that it's still there, remains to be seen.
Yeah, they brought back Battletoads last year after a long time in development. That didn't make much of a splash.
I was going to say, should they have brought back Battletoads?
I mean, so it's like, should they bring back Killer Instinct? I don't know, Greg. Killer Instinct was like, do you remember? Can your mind go back to? It was on the Super Nintendo. Does that sound right to you?
Killer Instinct?
I'm asking you. Yeah.
Oh no, I don't think it was on Super Nintendo, was it?
Okay.
It was that because I remember it was again. I'm not a fighting game guy. I thought Killer Instinct started as the arcade game and then came over to one of the ones.
I'm thinking about which home platform was it really known for?
Oh no, SNES. People in the chat are saying, it's definitely SNES.
Okay, so that's what I thought. Because I thought it was like a big win for Nintendo. It was a Super Nintendo exclusive, and Sega didn't have like their own sort of like mature fighting game. Yeah,
I was over there playing Justice League Task Force on my Sega Genesis, being like, "This is as good as it's ever gonna get. I don't need to get any other fighting games. I don't need to worry about it." Yeah, you're right. Killer Instinct 1994, an arcade fighting game developed by Rare and published by Midway. Initially released in arcades in 1994, the game advertised it would launch in 1995 for an intended Nintendo Ultra 64 home console, but Ultra 64 eventually materialized as the Nintendo 64, but never reached a version of the original Killer Instinct. Instead, the game received a high-profile launch on the SNES, which bundled the CD of remixed game tracks with a limited edition black-colored cartridge, as well as the release of a Game Boy handheld for the following year. Both of them were published by Nintendo.
Now I'm remembering. It's from the book Console Wars, which is a phenomenal book about the battle between Sega and Nintendo in the 16-bit days. Did you read that one, Greg? Or watch the documentary?
I did actually.
And there's just it's like towards the end of the book when Sega's sort of trying to launch the Saturn, and Tom Kalinske, after having done such an amazing job building up Sega of America, only to be sabotaged by Sega of Japan. He's at E3 and he sees Nintendo has Killer Instinct up there, and he feels defeated because he doesn't have anything to answer it with from Sega. I remember that part of the book. Greg, I wanted to mention something that I forgot to mention at the top of the show.
Sure.
If I may. I was just noticing as I was waiting for the show to start, just 40 minutes ago, 2 people asked to join the Super Knockin' Boots Facebook group. So, people are still knocking on the doors to get in there.
That's, you know what I mean? That's when you know you've made a hot podcast property, Damon, where how long has it been since we recorded an episode of Super Knockin' Boots? 2017?
I don't know. People are still asking to get into the Facebook group. So
2016, I think it might have been. Damn. I don't know.
Long time ago.
We've been doing this a long time, Dave. We've been doing all this a long time. Number 5 on the Roper Report. Let's talk Pokemon Go. The Pokemon Go is removing some of its pandemic features. This is Michael McWhertor over at Polygon. Over the past year, developer Niantic rolled out a series of gameplay tweaks to Pokemon Go designed to make the mobile game more playable under quarantine conditions. Many of those changes were a direct response to the coronavirus pandemic, letting players enjoy the gotta catch 'em all game from home. On Monday, Niantic said in a blog post that it plans to remove or change some of those bonuses while also adding new gameplay tweaks and retaining others. The changes will roll out first in the United States and New Zealand, where new cases of the coronavirus are on the decline and practically non-existent, respectively. Niantic said players in the US and New Zealand will start seeing changes at the end of July after this year's Pokemon Go Fest wraps, and that it will roll out those updates to other territories when it's safe to do so. During the pandemic, incense effectiveness was boosted to attract Pokemon more frequently to players' locations. It will soon revert to an original level of attraction where players are stationary, but will have increased effectiveness when players are moving, Niantic says. Players could also reach Pokestops and gyms from farther away during the pandemic, but Niantic plans to revert that change too. The developer said that the distance may be increased during future events as part of certain features. Niantic also plans to decrease the number of gifts that Buddy Pokemon deliver to players. It is currently boosted so players get up to 5 gifts at once, up to 3 times per day, but players will soon see reduced frequency. Daemon, did you ever play Pokemon Go? Did you get obsessed with it ever?
I literally never played Pokemon Go.
Yeah. I played a little bit of the very launch when it was the big movement or whatever, but was never super serious about it. And then in 2017, 2018, Kevin, if you remember, I went on a bender, Daemon, where it was like 2 months where maybe 3, Jen and I were obsessed with it. Like we were out there.
Damon. It was a lot. Like at one point we were like, you need to chill.
I was out there. I had battery packs. We're out there. We were having a great time because it was just like, Jen wanted to drag me on these walks so I don't die all the time. And so then I was like, fine, I'll do it, but I want to play a video game. And then this happened. And, at this point, Ghostbusters World wasn't working out. Don't get me started on with the missed opportunity there, damn. But I obviously have fallen out of it. I expect one day to be dragged back in. But I remember when the pandemic stuff got added and then seeing this got taken, I was like, oh, this makes a lot of sense. But I mainly bring this news story up because Dean wrote into patreon.com/kindafunnygames, just like you can, and says, hey, Greg and Daemon, I've been a casual Pokemon Go player since launch. I try to open the app most days to get my login and catch 1 or 2 Pokemon and maybe spin a stop if I'm near one. If the weather happens to be nice on a community day, I may grab some friends and walk around our local waterfront that has a lot of stops. When the pandemic began, Pokemon Go made some great changes that improved the game in many ways. Despite not being able to go for walks in crowded areas or meet up with others to do a raid, Pokemon Go managed to find ways to keep the community engaged even when we were all stuck at home. But these changes were not only good for lockdown, they were an overall improvement to the game. After around a year of having these changes implemented, Niantic has announced that they will be rolling back these changes. I guess I shouldn't be surprised, but the game has been like this for so long that I assumed it was here to stay. As I said, I'm not the most active player of the game, so I won't be affected that much, but it's disappointing to hear. Was this surprising to you guys as well? And is there any chance that they get enough complaints to reconsider? Daemon, what I like about this question is, even for us not being active Pokemon players, it brings up this interesting thing of having a game that's meant to be, you wander around, you go places with it, having to pivot for a pandemic, but then if you pivot back, what do you do to this audience?
Yeah, I understand. I guess I even though I don't play, I think I can understand the frustration on the player's part. And it's hard to understand why, the reasoning behind Niantic's decision to roll back those features. Because does it really matter? Is rolling back the features going to allow them to monetize it more? Because obviously they're a business, But it just isn't clear to me why it's a good thing for the players to roll back these features, and nor is it clear to me why it would be a good thing for Niantic.
Yeah, I mean, I think it comes down to their vision of the game, right? Like it is supposed to be this thing that is the community day. It is the idea that you're out there doing. It is motivating you to go out and explore and wander with this app and, track your steps, do the thing and yada, yada, yada. And I do think that so many of their gameplay systems, and again, I'm talking pre-pandemic, I didn't play during the pandemic, but so many of them pre-pandemic were based on movement, on steps, on actually getting out and doing it. So I feel like what they had to, solve for this problem that was at direct odds, like globally direct odds with what their game was. But now they want to go back to their original vision, which I understand and respect, but it does put people like Dean in this interesting place.
This is actually making me question one of my fundamental beliefs about games and art, which is that, like, while a game is being made, it's the product of someone's vision, either a single person's vision or the development team's vision, and it belongs to the creators. It's they don't need to, they can make the game that they want to make, whatever that vision is. However, once the gamer buys the game, that copy of the game belongs to them, and it only exists for the player's enjoyment and entertainment. So I think the player can play it in any way that they find is most enjoyable to them, and it doesn't really matter what the developer wants them to, how it wants them to play any longer. So if they want to change the difficulty, if they want to find exploits, if they want to break the game, whatever they want, if they want to play along with a guide, however they want to play it, however they find it most enjoyable is the right way for them to play it. However, with a live service game like Pokemon Go, I don't know what I think in that point anymore. When the developer is still actively connected to the player's experience, I don't know who should have the final say on how the game should be played.
I think that harkens to the second half of Dean's question here, right? Is there a chance they get enough complaints to reconsider? I definitely think there are. Like, I mean, sure. Again, as a casual Pokemon Go player, but somebody who, gets the press releases and reads the news, I've seen Niantic be, reactive to things and, respond to what's going on. So I think if there was enough outcry from the audience about this, there would be that thing. But again, part of the it's such a weird thing because for me, even part of the Pokemon Go is so awesome was the community days of walking into the park and seeing all these people out with their phones, or walking down the street and seeing somebody trying to take over a gym. Like, there is that. I feel like that is a core gameplay mechanic, even though it's not happening inside the game. The ability to be out there and see other people using it and to interact with people, and oh man, I passed this on my ride home or whatever. I parked next to a gym, so I try to catch that every day before I go do whatever. Like, I like that a lot, and I think that's cool. And I would think most core fans do as well. Obviously, Dean, I know you say you're a little bit on the sidelines of it. I think it would be this, see what the reaction is and go from there. I guess we could call Andrew Goldfarb, but then I got PlayStation yakking at me for getting this Pokemon Go kid in here. So we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I guess if there's outcry, there'd be there.
Yeah, I don't. But again, if it's if people are still enjoying the game, but they're getting out a little bit less, I don't see why that. I don't see why that's a bad thing.
Hey, listen, if you want to sit there with the Cheetos all over your chest, you play an Xbox, you play a PlayStation. All right, Daemon. Pokemon Go is for athletic wear. All right, Lululemon people get out there. They're out there high stepping. They're doing kicks and little flips and somersaults in the street. That's what this game's all about.
It would be nacho, cheesy, or Dorito crumbs for me.
Oh yeah, that's a great one. Dang. Now I'm hungry. I'm also hungry for patreon.com/kindafunnygames, where, of course, you can go, ladies and gentlemen, to be part of the show. You can go to get the post show we do each and every weekday. And, of course, you could go to get the show ad-free. But guess what, Jack? You didn't go to patreon.com/kindafunnygames. So let me tell you about our sponsors. This podcast is brought to you by DoorDash. Did you forget that one thing at the store? Now you can get snacks, drinks, and household essentials in 30 minutes with DoorDash. Dinner? Check. Deodorant? Check. Morning pick-me-up from Dunkin'? Check, check, check. Everything you need anytime you want it with DoorDash. They want Chinese. You want some pizza, and everyone is craving froyo. There's something for everyone on DoorDash. DoorDash connects you with the restaurants you love right now and right to your door. And now you can get the grocery essentials you need delivered with DoorDash too. Get drinks, snacks, and household items delivered in under an hour. Ordering is easy. Open the DoorDash app, choose what you want from where you want, and your items will be left safely outside your door with the contactless delivery option. Of course, I'm well versed in DoorDash because I use it all the time. Of course, it's not even in this. They have a thing called the Dash Pass where you can get delivery fees removed. You get a whole bunch of other benefits. I use that because we DoorDash at least once a week usually. Chinese, pizza, you name it. Sometimes the day ends and Jen and I just don't want to cook, and DoorDash is so simple to get what we want when we want it. With over 300,000 partners in the US, Puerto Rico, Australia, and now Canada, you can support your local go-tos or choose from your favorite national restaurants restaurants, I should say, like Popeyes, Chipotle, and Cheesecake Factory. For a limited time, our listeners can get 25% off and 0 delivery fees on their first order of $15 or more when you download the DoorDash app and enter the code GAMES2021. For our Canadian listeners, use the code GAMESCA. That's 25% off, up to a $10 value, and 0 delivery fees on your first order when you download the DoorDash app in the App Store and enter the code GAMES2021 in the US and GAMESCA in Canada. Don't forget, that's GAMES2021 or GAMESCA for 25% off your first order with DoorDash. Subject to change, terms apply. Our next sponsor, you might be asking, who is it, Greg? What is it going to be? It's Canva Pro. Of course, Canva Pro is the easy-to-use design platform that has everything you need to design like a pro. Whether you're a professional designer or just getting started, Canva Pro can help you boost your team's productivity and creativity. It's a quick, easy, and affordable way to design whatever you need. No matter what you're creating and sharing, Canva Pro has everything you need in one place, including a collection of over 75 million premium photos, videos, audio, and graphics. Plus, Canva Pro comes with time-saving tools. I thought it was life-saving tools. Let's not go too far. It's time-saving tools that simplify and speed up the creative process. You get all this and more in just one Canva Pro subscription. Of course, we've been using Canva Pro here for a while. Tim's been using it to make these little decks that we can show to people, and we're like, hey, why don't you work with Kinda Funny? And he goes in there and he's learned to design with it. Canva Pro is amazing, and there's no idea too big or too small when it comes to Canva Pro. So if you want to create something online, Canva Pro is a tool you need. Design like a pro with Canva Pro. Right now, you can get a free 45-day extended trial when you use our promo code. Just go to canva.me/KFGD to get your free 45-day extended trial. That's canva.me/KFGD. Canva.me/KFGD. And our final sponsor of the day, it's Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. It's time to join the resistance because Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade for PlayStation 5 is here. The shadowy Shinra Corporation is draining the planet's life force for their own again, but all is not lost. The mercenary Cloud Strife teams with Tifa, Barrett, and Aerith to take Shinra down. Whether they succeed depends on you. Of course, we're so excited for Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. The definitive edition of the award-winning Final Fantasy VII Remake has expanded graphical, gameplay, and system enhancements, and it brings Final Fantasy's visuals to the next level. It's got more realistic backgrounds, it's got better lighting, it's all around beautiful to look at. Hell, you know that Final Fantasy VII Remake was our game of the year. Now they've made it better, what's not to love? Integrate also gives you the ability to switch between graphics mode if you want 4K and performance mode if you prefer super smooth action with 60 frames per second. On top of it, Integrate comes with the episode Intermission, a brand spanking new episode featuring Wu-Tang Ninja, Yuffie, as the main character. Play as Yuffie as she conspires with Avalanche HQ to steal the ultimate materia from the Shinra Electric Power Company. Play as new characters and enjoy expanded gameplay experience featuring multiple new combat additions. And if you've already bought Final Fantasy VII Remake for PS4, you can download a free PS5 enhancement for the PS5 console. Episode Intermission is available as a separate purchase after you upgrade. Buy Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade for PlayStation 5 today. Go to sqex.link/remake-KFGD. That's sqex.link/remake-KFGD. Daemon, I saved the biggest news for last, everybody. Marvel's Avengers has updated their roadmap. We read from their blog post. First off, Patrol Mode is being moved past the War for Wakanda expansion. In Patrol Mode's place, we'll be releasing a slew of new content: Omega Level Threat, Family Reunion, multiplayer Mega Hives, and the ability to play as multiple of the same hero as a permanent feature. Daemon, I know you're a huge Avengers fan like me. You were already pretty stoked. We have, of course, the villain sector for Monica out this week. Today we get Cap's Endgame skin. What a time to be alive.
Yeah, you know I'm super excited for all this. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not a super huge Marvel's Avengers fan. I did play a few hours when it launched and realized it was not for me. But I gave it a shot, It's a little bit it was an unfocused package, I think.
Sure, 100%.
They were trying to be too many different things.
100%. You are 100% correct in that. And it was the weird thing of, giving you a single player campaign, but then it was also supposed to be this games as a service that had all this end game stuff that was completely different than what you were kind of doing throughout. It's like, why? And I would love to be a fly on the wall. And I obviously know it would have been years ago at this point. But when Crystal found out what Eidos Montreal was doing with Guardians.
Exactly.
And it was just like, we made the Tomb Raider games. Why aren't we? Why can't we make a single player Avengers game? Why are you? Was Crystal super juiced and jazzed up and wanted to get in there and do this games as a service, or was it something where it was like Square's like, hey, why don't you try this? And they're like, I guess. Okay.
Square or Marvel games. I don't know. Like, who knows where that came from?
Yeah.
But it's funny you mentioned Guardians. It was the whole fact that it is a single player game is why I'm really excited to try that out this fall.
Yeah. And it was interesting too, of course, obviously to see that. And, again, Square, obviously another owning Eidos Montreal, but the amount of people who were like, when I was like, man, Guardians looks great. I can't wait to I will not trust it after Marvel's Avengers. So I was like, damn, all right, I understand that. You should always take every game with a grain of salt if it isn't, but it's funny, interesting, I guess, that so many people feel burned by that they're like, we have to make sure we say this on Twitter.
Yeah. I mean, I understand that too, but it's also like Guardians seems to be going in a completely different direction, right?
Totally. And again, War for Wakanda coming out this August, everybody. Don't worry. I'm sure it'll fix everything. It's going to be great. Get Black Panther in there. Damon, you want me to help you grind up your Black Panther? I'll help you get to 150. Don't worry.
Okay. All right. You carry me.
I will carry you. You just leave the controller dead stick and I just do everything for you. I got it. Damon, I'm excited for you and I to start our adventures in Marvel's Avengers, but War for Wakanda is still so far away. If I wanted something more immediate, say what came to the mom and grop shops, where would I go?
The official list of upcoming software across each and every platform as listed by the Kinda Funny Games Daily Show hosts each and every weekday.
Yeah. Out today. Empire of Angels 4 on Switch. Alex Kidd in Miracle World DX. Wake Levi Buchanan.
Do we not comment on these games, or do you just read them off?
Oh, you can if you want. Yeah, you got comments. No,
I have some insight. I have some insight into Empire of Angels 4. It's a horny anime girl turn-based strategy game, and apparently this is the first time it's been available on console.
Wait, hold on. Now I'm googling it. Over here. Okay, I'm gonna look at a trailer over here, see what I got over here. Some violence, blood, and sexual themes is why it's rated teen. From Soft Star. It already sounds like porn.
Taiwanese developer, I think.
Okay. I like how you knew so much about this game.
Well, because I also pay attention to, I get the Nintendo email each week, and I look at what's coming up, and I'm like, what is this game? Because I do like turn-based strategy games, but, I don't think this one's supposed to be particularly good.
Okay. Alex Kidd in Miracle World DX, PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, Switch, and PC.
This one should be appealing to you, Greg. You being a Sega kid.
Oh, yeah, I remember Alex Kidd. You kidding me? I'm always excited to see him back. He's one of the playable ones in Yakuza, the new Judgment. Yeah. Where they're going to have the Sega Master System in Yagami's office. I'm like, are you kidding me? Yes, sir. Yes. Let's get a Sega Master System in there. Felt bad for you, Nintendo kid. You never.
You felt bad. Oh yeah, as we were all playing Mario, definitely should have felt sorry for us while you were playing Alex Kidd.
Ghost House. We were having a great time. We had the best version of Ghostbusters, having a ball over there.
That might be true.
God, best version
Legend of Mana Remastered comes with PlayStation 4, Switch, and PC.
I'm a little confused. I feel like there's a lot of Mana games. I have some Mana game for my Switch. Maybe it's the Mana collection, but there's also Trials of Mana. There's just a lot of Mana games out there now.
Yeah, that's one of those things where that's just where my eyes they glass over. I don't know what's going on that. I'm just like, I wish you well. If you're excited for Legend of Mana Remastered, go get them, but go out there and do it. The Dungeon of Nowelbeck, Amulet of Chaos is on Xbox One. You gonna rush and buy this one, David?
I don't have a comment on that one, but I do have a comment on the next one.
The Eternal Castle Remastered on PlayStation 4.
This is an awesome game. Anyone who likes cinematic platformers, older games like Out of This World, Flashback, more recently games like Limbo and Inside should check this out. It has a very cool pixel art style with great animations, a very cool spooky alien world vibe. I played this game on Switch and liked it a lot. And it's not actually remastered. It's a fake old game that's been remastered. It's a new game.
Oh, really? That's funny. That's a funny. Yeah, because I'm looking at I was like, I don't remember it, and I'm looking at the screens here on Nintendo. Okay.
That's a very cool game.
Kirakai Stars Idol Project. Oh, hold on, Kevin's editing. His name's over it. Nagisa. What about this one? Yeah. You got one for this?
No, I mean it's probably a Hatsune Miku style idol game.
There was an idol game.
Japanese pop star.
Yeah, that was the thing. There was an idol game that we watched in one of the directs that was a management game that I was like, I'd like to play that, but I don't know if it's this one. This one looks more like a visual novel. What do you want to do as an idol?
I have no comment on any of the other upcoming games, Greg.
Okay, good.
If you just
Well,
want
now
to
we're over here.
Although Sakura Succubus 3 is a horny dating sim that has universally positive reviews on Steam.
Okay. That's out on Switch today. So is Farm Your Life on Switch, Cube Blast Match on Switch, Car X Drift Racing Online on Switch, Summer Paws on Switch, and that's paws like a kitty. Super Cable Boy on Switch, Cyber Hook on Switch, Kingdom Builders on PC, and then GTA Online delivers 7 brand new arenas for the futuristic Deadline mode with triple rewards all week long for competing players.
I changed my mind. I do have a comment to make. You know, we talk about Sakura Succubus 3 on Switch and the Empire of Angels 4 on Switch. Greg, have you noticed, this is something we've talked about on GameScoop recently, somewhere along the line, Nintendo just decided, fuck it, let's let all the horny games into the eShop.
Sure.
There's no problem. There's so many horny, big anime-breasted girl games in the Nintendo eShop these days. I don't think Nintendo has any problem whatsoever with it anymore. I'm not offended. I'm just surprisid.
It's that thing where, you know, when the Vita dried up, these games had to go somewhere.
Yeah. They had to go somewhere. They're like, please, sir, begging outside Nintendo's Kyoto headquarters. Please, sir, we have nowhere to go.
There's so many horny portable gamers out there that want these things. They want to see the breathing breasts as they go in this weird cutscene. Yeah. And Nintendo's like, come on in. We'll take you in, you refugees from Vita Island. Get in here.
Miyamoto just couldn't say no.
I understand. Yeah. New dates for you. GameSpot reports the second episode of Dying Light 2's Dying to Know series is going to broadcast July 1st at 12 p.m. Techland's Twitch channel. Next week's topic hints at a deep dive into the various infected people that you'll encounter in the game, with an emphasis on the volatile humans who emerge at night. Dying Light 2, Daemon.
Yeah, it's finally coming. You're a Dead Island fan.
I've heard this before that it's coming. All right, I've seen E3 demos behind closed doors. Believe it when I see it. Did you care?
I know you liked Dead Island.
I did like Dead Island, and I Dying Light I enjoyed too. For a while, I didn't finish it, but I enjoyed what I played of it. Yeah, but like this one, I don't know what it's going to be by the time it actually gets here.
Yeah, these are not. It's not a game for me.
Yeah,
I'm gonna disconnect and come back.
Okay, man, he's never coming back, Kevin. No, he's back. He came back. Neo, The World Ends With You demo arrives on PlayStation June 25th. Remember The World Ends With You, Daemon? It's back.
I remember it. I think it got like a 10 from IGN back in the day, maybe. Or it was very highly reviewed. I actually never played it, although I've only ever heard good things, and I'd probably like it because it's set in a futuristic Tokyo. That's kind of my jam. Yeah. So I don't know. I should probably check out the original first before I play the sequel.
But I get it with trophies, so there you go. I know you love trophies.
Oh, yeah.
Cyberpunk 2077's Microsoft Store expanded refund window is closing officially on July 6th. More Pokemon Go for you. Pokemon Go Fest Raid Day is going to be Sunday, July 18th. This year, Pokemon Go Fest will feature all legendary Pokemon discovered in Pokemon Go since launch. Each legendary Pokemon will be appearing in 5-star raids during one of 4 themed hours on a rotation throughout the second day of Pokemon Go Fest. Then Apex Legends' new limited time collection event, Genesis, which will run June 29th through the July 13th. During the Genesis collection event, Legends will be taken back to the original map of Kings Canyon, complete with Skulltown, and World's Edge. Skulltown will also be made into an arena map during the event, along with 24 new limited time cosmetics to unlock. Meanwhile, deals of the day for you. Xbox free play days are back. Of course, it's the weekend. So through Sunday, you can play for free if you're a Gold or Xbox Game Pass Ultimate member. Saints Row 4 Reelected, Overwatch Origins Edition, and Warhammer Vermintide 2. Again, all free for you to play, Gold and Game Pass. Saints Row. They're still making. I want to say they're still making those. They say they are. They keep re-releasing Saints Rows. You just can't get away from the Daemon. Every time anything happens, there's a new Saints Row remaster.
What was the last Saints Row in quotes game? Agents of Mayhem, something like that.
Well, that wasn't Saints Row officially, right?
It was like in the same
universe, but it was his own thing. And we all looked at it and we're like, oh, it's gonna be a multiplayer game. They're like, no. We're like, wait, there's 4 like characters that all have this thing. Like, no, it's just you playing it. It's a weird choice.
Yeah.
And then GameSpot reports on Amazon Prime's deals, right? With June winding down, Amazon has revealed the next batch of free games and loot for Amazon Prime members. Prime Gaming's July 2021 lineup features 6 free games: Batman: The Enemy Within, Rad, The Wanderer: Frankenstein's Curse, Tales of the Neon Sea, Auto Machef, and Portal Dogs. You can also grab free in-game loot for popular games like Grand Theft Auto Online, Warframe, and Sea of Thieves.
I think it's Atama Chef.
Daemon, on GameScoop, you can pronounce however anything you want to pronounce. On Games Daily, I am going to run through this like a bull in a china shop. Hope no one notices that I don't know what the fuck this word is, and get out of here. All right, that's what I'm gonna do.
Got it.
All right, thank you. Please respect me. All right. Yep. Damon, we ask people watching to go to patreon.com/kindafunnygames, of course, to be part of the show with their questions, comments, concerns, and squad up requests. This is where you can give us your name, username, platform of choice, and why you need help in a video game. I read it here. The best friends come and find you, and everybody plays games together. Today, Ryan needs help on Xbox or PC because crossplay will be fine. He's going to be on Xbox. His Xbox username is JAMA7198. That's JAMA7198. Ryan writes, I'm jumping back into Sea of Thieves with the Pirates Life update, and I'm looking for a crew to set sail on the high seas with. Haven't played since launch, so I'm still learning all the new systems they've added in, and any help would be appreciated. I'm available weekday nights after 4 p.m. Eastern and most weekends. Thanks, and I look forward to playing with some best friends. If you want to sail the 7 seas with Ryan, hit him up, Jama7198. Did you ever play Sea of Thieves, Damon?
I never did.
I'll tell you what.
But I hear a lot of great things, though.
I started yesterday, or I guess 2 nights ago, whatever, and then played like the stream of it yesterday, and then played on my own last night. I'm having a ball. I'm so happy I waited, and now the game's like so much more complete than when we tried to do stuff with it earlier. Just having so much fun. Can't wait to get back to it. A lot of trolls though, Damon. I went out last night all by myself because Snow Like Mike didn't respond to my squad up on Slack, and he said I should have texted him, but I didn't. And I'm all alone on my little pirate ship. And I'm out there and I fight a bunch of skeletons and I get their skulls and it's like, you did it. Now go, turn the skulls in. So I ride my little ship back all happy to the port. And as I'm coming up on the port, I'm like, what are these green fireworks? And it was people shooting shit at me. And they massacred me, Damon. They got on the ship. They took all my stuff. Right, I kept respawning on the ship. They kept killing me again.
I was going to say, that just sounds like pirates.
That's the point of pirates.
I know, guys. It's just, I had a great stream where we ran into somebody who said, I'm friendly. And they were like, oh, okay, don't. And Mike tried to kill him, but he didn't. And then we were just hanging out and we were having a good time. And then hell broke loose. And that's how I got, So whatever. Just saying it. They stole my skulls, everybody. I didn't want them to, but they did. Damon, we have a new thing we're calling Gamer Confessions. And when I say we have a new thing, I mean I started a new thing on Wednesday and I didn't tell any of the other hosts, and they should be aware that they're going to be popping up in the thing. Marco writes in, but we're going to talk about it in the post show, right? Marco writes in and says, good morning. I'm so glad to see both the leader of the only video game podcast and the founder of the only news podcast together. I have a video game confession. I listen to people talk. I listen to people talking about video games more than I play them. Thank you both.
Yeah, that's not too surprising, right? Because you can listen to podcasts while you do a lot of things, while you're riding your bike for your paper route, or while you're making passionate love to someone. But it would be hard to play. It'd be hard to play rival schools.
Let me get you in the mood. I'm going to put on GameScoop.
It'd be hard to play rival schools while you're doing the dirty,
Sure. Yeah. No, that's fair. That's maybe we won't say, but that was a great point. Yeah. You nailed it. I think on how it all works out there. Damon, we asked people watching live to go to Twitch, watching live on twitch.tv/kindafunnygames, to go to kindafunny.com/you're wrong and tell us what we screw up as we screw it up. So we can set the record straight for everybody watching later on youtube.com/kindafunnygames, roosterteeth.com, and podcast services around the globe. Usually it's people writing in about stuff we screwed up on the show, a fact we got wrong, or release date we got wrong. Odd Net Nin writes in with this one and says, salutations, Mr. Hatfield. This day of reckoning has been a long time coming.
Oh, great.
12 years and 8 days have passed since the day you published your review on IGN.com of Mario vs. Donkey Kong Minis March Again for DSiWare.
Oh,
you stated, quote, players will find 4 game worlds to work through, each with 10 stages, end quote. I have been waiting ever since to correct you on those that are just those are just the main campaign, and that there are many more unlocked in the post game plus mode, parentheses including rooftop and basement stages, for a total of 100, not quote over 40 as you erroneously wrote. I expect this review to be updated in short order. Good day, Mr. Hatfield.
Yes, immediately following this, I will update my review.
Get
Greg,
right
it happens
back.
all that. We've been doing this for so long now. It happens all the time that an old game will come up and it'll be like, yeah, what was that game? I kind of remember that. Wasn't it like this or something? And I'll look it up and it'll say reviewed by Daemon Hatfield.
Totally.
What? Completely forgotten about it.
Gamescast all the time where I'm like, I'm like, I remember that. I didn't play it. And then somebody's like, Greg, you wrote the review. I'm like, dude, not a good sign for how much that game resonated with me, but okay. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Next level, Nick says the idle sim game Greg is thinking about is We Are OFK. This was mentioned a couple of times during E4 and is supposed to be about a real group of that rose to stardom while being completely digital K-pop group. It's like a visual novel, but also documentary format. Now, the one I remember it being like I'm managing them and telling them where to go and what to do. That sounds creepier. You know what I mean? Like I'm like schedule their day, not like you go to the bathroom now, but not you. you didn't sing well enough in the last podcast. Okay. That's it. Those were the your runs. Not too bad.
We didn't get much wrong then.
No,
which is a bit surprising because we haven't played a lot of the games we talked about today.
Listen, I don't know anything about Pokemon Go except for something from 2 years ago, but let me give you my opinion. That's podcasting in a nutshell. People are just like, you know what? I don't play Pokemon Go either, but I'm enjoying this conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed these conversations, of course, you can go to patreon.com/kindafunnygames to be part of each and every episode of Kinda Funny Games Daily. Of course, you could go there and you could get the post show Daemon and I are about to do. You could get the show ad free. You could get a whole bunch of different bonuses like the Next Gen podcast and every other, Gamescast post show, live streams for Gamescast when it's not embargoed like Mario, blah, 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 blah. However, if you have no bucks tossed our way, you of course can watch us record the show live on twitch.tv/kindafunnygames. If you're watching on twitch.tv/kindafunnygames right now, guess what? Valorant is up next with Nick Scarpino trying it for the first time, being Sherpa'd by the one, the only Snowbike Mike. If you missed that, of course, you can go to our newest YouTube channel, youtube.com/kindafunnyplays, and catch all of our archived streams there. Usually a day up. So like our Sea of Thieves thing yesterday is going up today over there. Of course, if you want to get this show, youtube.com/kindafunnygames, podcast services around the globe, no matter where you get the show. Thank you for supporting it. Daemon, where can people keep up with you?
Well, definitely on Twitter @Dame0, and also hopefully everyone checks out my humble little video game podcast, GameScoop, which goes up Fridays on IGN and all podcast services, Spotify, and at youtube.com/IGN Games.
Does it ever? What episode of GameScoop are you on right now?
This will be 631.
God damn, dude. Do you ever sit there and just like, God damn, I built this, I did this?
Yeah, 15 years, Greg. 15 years in April. But it's crazy. Maybe you've had this thought too. Podcasting, like as a vocation, is interesting because I feel like I could do it forever. It's like I feel like I could do it when I'm 70. Just talk about video games. It's crazy. I have no plans of stopping, basically.
We're going to carry this into the post show. I do like this conversation. That's where we'll go with it. If you want to catch that, patreon.com/kindafunnygames. If you don't, well, fuck you too, man. Thanks for nothing. Until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.
God.